What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. With me today is a buddy of mine who I have known for, it's actually been over 10 years. Does that nauseate you, Masto?
10 years? Man, that just means I'm getting old, dude.
Yeah, we're all getting old. It's Greg Masto. He's one of my former buddies that I used to run with over at Marist College. And he now lives the dream for a lot of us millennials, especially guys growing up. He plays around with video games all day and actually makes them, which is friggin' awesome, and I'm jealous of you.
Yeah, I'll say, dream of guys and girls, because after all, my missus is also in the video game industry.
Yeah, and Masto is nice enough to join us from, the ever Arctic, the ever so cold California over there. You're near the Oakland area, and he's nice enough to join us from the car. So if it sounds like he's driving, he is. So
Yep. 100%. It'll slow down soon, and I'll be stuck in that awesome California traffic very shortly.
That's always fun. And yeah, and bear with me, because if I sound nasally, it's because I am. It's because I feel like absolute crap, and I have for a while. So if this sounds absolutely awful coming from my end, just blame it on my sickness. Not my fault.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're going to start off first. So I asked about some ancient history. I know you used to work for a sister company of Activision, but You've gone through a lot from leaving Marist College in 2010 to now expanding now over the last almost 10 years in your video game creation career. You're at a place called Endless Entertainment now, but go through a quick little gauntlet of games that you've worked on personally that people out there would know.
Yeah, sure. So I've been a QA tester, way back when I first started, QA tester for the Skylanders Swap Force franchise. Any people that have kids or, people that like to play kind of platformers know that generation of games. When I moved out here to California, former Telltale producer and QA tester. I've worked on the tail end of Wolf Among Us, Game of Thrones, Minecraft Story Mode, and Guardians of the Galaxy. After that, I did a nice little stint as an associate producer with WWE 2K. Just recently released a few months ago, WWE 2K19. That was a very, very fun project of mine. Probably my most favorite I've worked on. And now, I'm at a nice startup here in Oakland, California by the name of Endless Entertainment. Can't really discuss what's going on right now, but we've got some fun stuff in the pipeline.
That's awesome. And yeah, so that kind of ties into everything we're going to talk about on the podcast. We're going to talk some sports. We're going to talk some WWE. We'll probably touch on a little eSports later, because I think I'm one of the rare people, and you're probably with me as well, that thinks that eSports is a sport. And I'm going to start fighting for that, because if you're entertained by watching people do things that are significantly better than you, it's entertaining, it's competitive. I consider that to be part of a sport. We think darts are sports. So how the hell is gaming not a sport?
I agree with you there, man. We'll go into it, but yeah, I 100% agree with you on that.
But we're going to start off with another fun topic, and it's going to be titled, Adam Gase has to be a cokehead. What the hell is wrong with his eyes? It's not just one press conference. He did a follow-up one, I think, the day later, and he was still following around. I love the person that did the meme of the flying taco that he was staring at. What the hell is up? He had to snort copious amounts of coke before both of those.
I mean, he decided a hell of a time to not wear a hat, because anytime I'd watch Dolphins press conferences, he had his hat on, and he would kind of grumble if it's a win, grumble if it's a loss. Yeah, definitely give a shout-out to the guy that did the taco Photoshop. I have no idea what the hell is wrong with him there. I have no idea what the hell is wrong with your New York Jets, but if your team wants to continue to be a dumpster fire, that helps my Dolphins, I guess.
Now, is there any doubt that he was, what was it, 2018? It was a few years ago that there was the Dolphins line coach that made the video of him snorting lines. I think it was O-line coach Chris Forster. He snorted lines. Now, is there any doubt that Adam Gase did it with him right before that video?
I got to look back and make sure that wasn't a Philbin guy. I got to use my ears on that. That might have been a Gase guy. Who knows? But maybe he called him up to ask him to kind of get the jitters out for the New York media. So I have, like I said, man, no idea. I know people are like, they're trying to backpedal and say, I'm just here to win. But Jesus, read the room or something, man. Like, what are you doing in a introductory press conference?
So you're a mega Miami Dolphins fan. You're an all-around sports fan, and I think people, if they see our interactions with the Sports Opinions account, you're one of my most interactive guys. You're always ripping my opinions, which I'm a-okay with because that's the whole purpose of it. But you are a mega Dolphins fan. You obviously had to deal with Adam Gase over the last, what was it, 4 years now?
About 3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
3 years. You listen to New York sports media, and they definitely bring out a lot of excuses for Adam Gase, which some of them are very relevant. But you got to watch him for 3 years closely. You watched his coke eyes underneath the hat, which obviously hid those. Maybe he wasn't distracted by all the planes flying around that didn't exist in the press conference room, but the hat helped him. So, what was he like in Miami for you? Were you kind of pumped up for him at first, and he really petered out? Like, what was he like there as a coach?
Yeah, at first I was stoked, man. A lot of, Peyton Manning, like, really went to bat for him. A lot of folks, like any Dolphins fan that's making fun of him now, and you can throw me in there, it's a bit hypocritical because the fan base was very excited for him. And you look at it, his first year there, Tannehill has his best season ever before going down with an injury against Arizona. So you think we've got some, just some positivity. We finally have a coach that's kind of no nonsense, but the players can take him seriously. And then he has the smart idea. All right, Tannehill hurts himself in, preseason. He has the genius idea to give $10 million to Jay Cutler. Okay, I would have liked that money elsewhere, but he knows Jay from his Chicago days, and him coming out of retirement is a better option than fails. Okay, let's see what happens. 6-10, throwaway garbage season. We still have that kind of glimmer in our eye, like, before Tannehill went down, he was close. They were probably, 7-4 at the time, like looking good.
Yep.
Before curb stomped by the Steelers with Matt Moore. And then this year the wheels really started to fall off. He starts off 3-0, but it's a really shaky 3-0. Everyone kind of has that, sinking suspicion of like, well, yeah, they're 3-0, but they've looked like the worst 3-0 team of all time. Patriots smack them in the mouth. Tannehill gets hurt again. And in the middle of that, the one, like, real turning point where I was like, oh, we've got a problem now. Gase, in a weird post-game, got sick of being asked about Tannehill's knee or said something along the lines of, go ask him.
Yep.
And it's like I was like, what's going on here? You won the game. We luckily won the game, but what are you talking about? Go ask him. You're up on the podium for a reason, man, asking about why your franchise QB, who you shelled yourself to, is like, what's wrong with his damn knee?
I don't want to hear any coaches get ripped about what they say on the podium because Bill Belichick gets away with saying absolutely nothing every single time.
Well, Bill Belichick also has 5 Super Bowl rings, so I guess once you do that, and you can throw Nick Saban in there with college, you can act like a dick to everybody. So
Dabo Swinney is Nick Saban's daddy.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I was as a Dolphins fan, fuck Nick Saban.
But talking about, Gase, and some of the excuses are relevant because if you do look at it, the defense completely underperformed under him. You guys poured a lot of money, got some powerful linemen on that team, and Ndamukong Suh was there, Cameron Wake. Even this past year, you have Quinn there, and they should be better, and they're just not. So Gase, I guess he can kind of hang his hat on that because he is the head coach, but you hire a defensive coordinator when you're an offensive guy for that. But he did have the offense going while Tannehill was there. They looked good. They played good football. So there is something to be said about that. And I think Jets fans are just excited because we saw what he did with a healthy Tannehill. And we see Sam Darnold as a guy who is as talented, if not more talented, ceiling-wise, than Ryan Tannehill. So I think we get excited about that part.
It depends what weapons he has with him. I caution you, and I will say this, it wouldn't shock me if he tries to kill the Dolphins his first game in. He brought that OC over, but it's Gase calling the plays, man. I'm not sure what that offensive coordinator is going to do for you.
Maybe he's going to just be a yes man.
Yeah, maybe with some better pieces. Maybe we see some of the genius of Gase, or maybe Peyton Manning really did make Adam Gase look really, really good.
Maybe, I don't know. But $100 million in the cap, this is McCagnon's make or break year. If he can't put together at least playoff contention team this year, in terms of talent, then he's going to be gone. Deservedly so.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got some bad news. If you want to throw some high-quality stars over there, Jay Ajayi, Jarvis Landry, they used to play for the Dolphins, and Gase had no problem shipping them out to contenders. And, well, I guess it's weird to say the Browns are going to be the future contender, but it's 2019. What the hell? It's the world we live in.
Yeah, he doesn't like any pushback. I think Robbie Anderson is probably on his way out. And he's probably our best in terms of big play weapon. He's the guy. So we're going to transition over to your Dolphins completely. Are you seeing this right now as a fan? What is your expectation next year? Is it full-fledged rebuild mode at this point that you're looking for them to just add pieces and rebuild and move on from Tannehill? What's the expectation?
What I would hope, and as a fan, and I know it would suck to see, but it needs to be a full-on rebuild. Now, what's going to happen instead?
That's good for me.
Yeah, they're going to go 6-10 and 7-9 and screw themselves for another 10 years probably. But for once in their life, and I know the players will never go for it, but they need to just do a full rebuild, man. I don't know if you're going to find a quarterback of the future here. 2020 looks bright as well, but what doesn't ever make sense to me is you get a new GM. That GM should hire the new coach, and you just start over. Just get rid of the pieces. I know Tannenbaum is all but fired from the Dolphins, but seriously, just get rid of your front office people.
Why did you guys get Tannenbaum? You saw what he did with the Jets. He likes big names. He likes the big splash, and you see that bringing in Sue, bringing in Quinn. He has Wake there. At this point, why are you not just your two best assets at this point probably are Wake and Quinn? Dangle them on a string, get picks for them, get young guys for them. I think they should trade their best assets and tank. I'm with you with that.
Quinn, definitely. Wake is a tough pill to swallow, even for me, just because he is such a,
he's a Dolphin through and through.
Dolphin for life. The biggest regret is if he wears a Jets jersey like Jason Taylor did, and I'm starting to go nuts then.
I don't know. Will.
yeah, that'll be the sad part. I don't know. You could ask your Jets. You could ask the Bills the same damn question. Why do they keep trading everybody? Rex Ryan, your coach. Who was your coach that just got canned from the Jets? But he was a Dolphin interim
Todd Bowles,
coach.
Yeah,
Todd Bowles was the former Dolphins defensive coordinator. Meanwhile, it's that great picture of Belichick just sipping orange juice. It's like my three idiot rivals keep trading all the bad coaches amongst one another. This is too damn easy.
Yeah, so we're going to stop talking about the depressing teams in the AFCs real quick because let's be honest, our Jets and Dolphins, as long as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick even breathe, I'm not even saying play. I think as long as they're alive, the AFC East is going to be cursed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the teams that are still left. Now, we had the conference championship games this past weekend. Everyone's complaining about the overtime. Mike Francesa said the smartest thing since his comeback. Drew Brees had the ball, and he turned it over. So the overtime isn't a big deal. If you get the ball, score the touchdown, win the game. That's it. And the Patriots did it. It was vintage Brady. If you didn't enjoy watching, as much as I hate Brady, watching him orchestrate that overtime was unbelievable. Those 3 third and longs and then mixing in the run. He is a master at his craft. I hate the man, but he's so talented. I'm tired of hearing of the overtime, but the Saints were robbed. What do you think of that no call? I know everyone's talked about it. It's a big deal. What do you think of that no call? How bad is it?
It's a pretty awful call. You could argue it is kind of game decider. But to everyone's point, everyone that's backed it up, it's like, look, we need to pick a lane. There's no rule involved. There was no rule involved, so we need to set one and set a precedent for it. Today, they fined the Rams player, was it $26,000?
You shouldn't be able to be fined if there's no penalty on the play. I think that needs to be a rule.
Oh, there should have been a penalty, but look, that's kind of human error. And in that big of a spot, honestly, we were kind of due for that.
Did you see Barstool did a Madden reenactment, and they had the player and they got the flag, and they were like, Madden refs are better than real life ones?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, should we just go AI? Because the refs are all over 100 years old anyway, so they can't really see anything going on. And plus, not to give the refs an excuse, but they're pressured by the NFL, like, hey, don't, it's less flags. Don't throw the flags on any kind of egregious play. But I don't know, man. You kind of look back, if you're the Saints, why are you not running the ball there on first down? Why are you not trying to take more clock off? Look, they got robbed. It was a bad call, but they also set themselves up to kind of be put in that situation. If you're the better team in your home and it was like 9-0, just step on the damn throat at that point. They give up a fake punt, everything early on. Like, don't let it all come down to one human error that you cannot control.
Yeah, without a doubt. And now, are we going to see the future challenging penalties? Is a challenge of penalties coming with all this stuff going on?
I forgot who said it, whether it was the Ringer or around the NFL. But honestly, a good call is this: college always looks at helmet to helmet, even if it's not a penalty, because they're all about player safety and BS like that. But you see that kind of collision, stop there, and that's still 15 yards in the first down. It's not quite pass interference, but the sheer fact you saw the helmets collide like that, mid-air collision. It's the playoffs. People are tuning in and watching anyway. What's the worst it's going to do?
The worst part is the player then says, I was beat. I was trying to stop a touchdown, keep the ball on the field. I was going for the penalty. He admitted he was expecting the flag.
Oh, the NFL despises him right now. If they have their way, he's going to get like about 20 flags thrown on him against Brady. He's the guy that's got to guard Edelman. So the Pats are going to get like about 10 PI calls anyway. And there's going to be yellow everywhere.
I refuse to call him Edelman. He is Welker's larger clone. He's not Julian Edelman. They just test tube. Chris Hogan's the same way. He's a test tube clone of Wes Welker. That's what they started to do.
Yeah, except Belichick found the cure for concussions, I guess.
Yeah, don't care. That's his cure for concussions. Get back in the game. Now, the Pats obviously continued their dominance. They beat Mahomes. Now, people are ripping on me. Rob Planter, my brother's friend, he's a big Patty Mahomes guy. And the one fact that I pointed out is I think he's now 1-5 in big games. He's young, so I give him that. He's very talented, but great players like your Brady's, even your Breeze, even though he slipped up, your Breezes, your Rodgers, your Big Bens, they find ways to win these big games. He's not ready to do that yet. And it showed. He had a terrible start, a great fourth quarter, but then he couldn't get back on the field. And that's what happens when you leave it in the hands of these great quarterbacks. What's your feeling on we see the Pats firsthand.
Yeah.
Is it at this point, I'm just resigned to the fact that I'm actually happy to see greatness. Like I'm not as mad as I used to be because I get to tell my kids I got to see arguably the best quarterback of all time play football. How are you feeling about it?
Just ask my dear Laker friends about the Warriors and all that, because right now they despise them at the moment. And it's the same with me. I'm sick of New England, man. I mean, and I know this wasn't the game changer, but the little dink on Brady's helmet, face mask, personal foul, whatever the hell the penalty was called.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to tell my kids? I hated that guy forever. And then they're going to ask me, why did you make me a Dolphins fan? But hey, that's just another story, probably a few years, like 10 years from now.
Just make them like one of the spring league football teams, whichever one of those lasts, because there's 9 million spring league football teams football leagues popping up now. Do you know about all 3 of the new ones that are coming up within the next 2 years?
The AAF, the XFL.
And the Freedom League, which is Ricky Williams and Terrell Owens are the brain trusts of that one.
Oh, yeah, that'll last. Okay, that's a great idea.
But, yeah, that's
probably still playing. You're asking Ricky to finish something. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, the Pats continue it. So now we have the Super Bowl. And this looks like it might be another one of those passing of the torch games with Jared Goff, who has not played up to snuff since Week 11, but he's gotten his team there. He's played well enough. And Tom Brady. It seems like Tom Brady, every time he's going back to the Super Bowl now, it's kind of the quote-unquote passing of the torch. But it's really not, because I think Brady's going to take care of business, and unfortunately, I see the Pats raising another Lombardi. What do you feel about that?
My heart says the hometown boy, Jared Goff, but head says Patriots are going to absolutely kill him. I mean, you say Goff has been playing up to his standards. I mean, what are Goff's standards? Honestly, Goff is kind of who he is. You insert him, Trubisky, just Goff doesn't really scare me. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Belichick's got a plan for him. I know people might point to Foles, pulling that out of his ass, but yeah, I mean, Goff really got lucky. He doesn't,
Since Cooper Kupp went down, he's been very average, and average I think is really nice.
Yeah, and what the hell is wrong with just this whole team? C.J. Anderson is now the lead back. I don't get it, man. If I'm the Patriots, keep Brady's jersey clean. I don't know how they don't win by double digits.
C.J. Anderson ate C.J. Anderson, and now he is who he is. He is so much bigger than when he was on Denver.
Yeah, but the guy's the winner. He's been to this dance before. I mean, Gurley, I don't know what the hell's wrong with Gurley. He's got to get healthier. There's no shot in hell. I mean, I know it's pretty obvious to say, but you need Donald, you need Sue, you need someone to just pop Brady. Like, even if I'm not saying go low or dirty, but hey, play after, give a good tackle on him. Just let him know he's going to get hit and he's going to know what that feels like.
Maybe Dante Fowler can remember he gets paid to rush the passer. That would be nice.
Yeah, you would think, right? Just something.
Something.
He had his way with the Chiefs. If, to quote Dan Pearls, this game would be pretty damn close if the Chiefs had a defense. But seriously, that's it. Clean jersey. Clean white jersey. They didn't touch him except for that stupid penalty.
I'm still on the record that the Rams-Chiefs game, while it was extremely entertaining, it was not a great game. It was bad defense, turnover-ridden, sloppy offense with a lot of scoring. I didn't love that game. It was fun, but it wasn't great.
Dude, you're poo-pooing on it. That's just the way it is. Defense was optional. That was just, that was fun. Because to the average viewer, fine. If you want to be like the football hardo on it, sure. But come on now. Because what did we get after? We got some kind of slog, boring game the next week. That thing delivered. You wanted offense and scoring, boom, you got it. Shootout.
See, for me, I'm happy with your 28-31. It's a good amount of scoring, but some defense was played. There were some stops. Every possession wasn't a touchdown.
Yeah, we're not talking 31-28. When you were going on about that, I'm like, so what? Go back to the Dolphins' last Super Bowl win was 14-7. You want that kind of barn burner? I don't think so, man.
I don't know. Some of those are fun. But then again, I am your snob. So when it comes to football, you rip on me all the time when I just get on things like that. But that is my snobbiness. And the common fan, yeah, they like that stuff. But that's why every league is going towards, let's just score 1 million points.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But,
all right. Yeah. So we're going to talk about 2 optional sports. I call them optionals because a lot of people don't consider them sports. But talk about these guys, the people in the WWE. Tell one of them they're non-athlete and find out quick how athletic they are. Ask Charlotte Flair if she's an athlete. Ask Ronda Rousey, who was one of the world's best athletes, if she's not an athlete, and find out.
Hold on. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say they're not athletes, but come on, you're going to crap on Mr. Vince McMahon. It's not sports, my friend. That's sports entertainment. You can thank your state of New Jersey because they won't tax him then.
Yeah, hey, listen, no. He's smart.
And this has gone from the days look, I've watched it ever since I was a kid, but this has gone from the steroid era of Hogan and Macho Man and everyone doing coke and drinking beers after. All these men and women are now these phenomenal CrossFit athletes in wonderful shape. All of them got to learn to fall, and you see what they all can do now. They're definitely all athletes.
Yeah,
you want to call it sport entertainment? Yeah, that's where you're going to get different on it.
The Click 100% changed everything about all of professional wrestling because they were the first group to take over multiple brands. But we're not going to go into wrestling history. Yeah. We can have a whole podcast about that.
Oh, I know. I'm just going to say you're drinking their Kool-Aid a little too much. A lot of revisionist history there. But, yeah, I digress.
Definitely. But so we're going to talk about the Royal Rumble coming up. It is, what is it, the 25th? No, when is the Royal Rumble? It is the 25th today.
This Sunday, the 27th.
This Sunday. So the Royal Rumble is the big cheese. They have the Women's Royal Rumble this year, which is pretty damn cool.
Yep.
And then there is, in Royal Rumble fashion, a whole bunch of championship matches, which is why this is one of the best pay-per-views every single year. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to buy the Royal Rumble. It's just universally, it's kind of like SummerSlam and WrestleMania. People universally want to watch these. Who are your surprises? Because every year in the Royal Rumble, there's always a few wrestlers that people are like, holy shit, they're back. Who are your surprises that are coming into the Royal Rumble this year that you think?
All right, so this will be kind of my nerdism. Just one that knows me knows I watch all wrestling, all kind of indie. Don't think it's going to happen, but on the small outside shot, Kenny Omega comes through that curtain, former New Japan, IWGP champion.
One of the best wrestlers in the world right now.
Easily. He's probably joining AEW, but, man, if we see him through the curtain, a la AJ Styles a few years ago, that would just be so damn wonderful. This year, it's tough. I mean, even in the men's Rumble, you got your 2 clear-cut favorites with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Honestly, other than, giving a call to the Hurricane or just something to kind of pop the crowd a bit.
I would love the Hurricane.
I don't know if they're going to have any big-time surprises, man.
Can we get Al Snow to bring back Head? Is that too much attitude error for the PG era?
That might just be too much. You might just get him at when he was, Leaf Cassidy or whatever the heck he was doing back in the day, or just get plain old Al Snow.
Or can we just have, can we have Bray Wyatt come in twice? Can he be Husky Harris first, get eliminated, and then come back as Bray Wyatt? I think that would be fun.
That's my other surprise, because he's been very, very quiet.
Yep.
He has not been seen in quite some time since Matt Hardy and him they just abruptly ended the tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Bray comes back, you put him in there, the Final Four, you never know what can happen. That's definitely a guy I'd watch for to just get a nice spot. Matt Hardy would be fun too, but no, my two biggest ones, Kenny Omega. I'll act like I did on the Miami Miracle, flipping out like a nerd. But Bray Wyatt definitely is my big one, who I would hope would show up at the Rumble.
They're awful at pushing Bray Wyatt, by the way. He pops every single time, and they just cannot cement him into any scene precisely. Like, I don't understand what the WWE does sometimes.
Yeah, people forget he is a former WWE champion. He had it for a cup of coffee before dropping it.
Well, so was Dolph Ziggler, and you can argue that they're probably two of the better performers that they've had over the last decade. And neither of them have gotten a real shot.
Dolph's overrated.
I love Dolph Ziggler. He's one of my favorite guys. You do not say that.
He'll probably get massacred for it. He'll probably curse me out anyway too. So I never saw the appeal, and it was cool when he won it, but I'm like, he just says the same thing. He's going to steal the damn show. Yeah, I get it, man, but there's better performers than you now. Sorry.
So the Women's Rumble is a cool thing. It's an awesome time where we have enough women to actually have participate, and they're actually legitimate athletes, and they're not just out there to flaunt their bodies. They're actually wrestlers, and they're fun. They're starting to really get so much more of a push, as a lot of them deserve, because they are, like I said, amazing athletes. What did you think? Because I saw in glancing that they were announcing like every 30 minutes the entrant. What did you think of that? I thought it would have been fun just to have it be a surprise. Let the 30 come out and see who it is. What was your appeal? Like, did you like that announcement style?
I absolutely hated it. Makes no damn sense. The whole point of the Rumble is the surprise. You don't know, looking at the roster, everyone they announced, by the way, it's like, yeah, no kidding. They're all on the active roster. We hope they're So if you're going to do this, it's a double-edged sword. It's like, okay, throw us a surprise. Trish Stratus, Lita, an NXT woman. No, it's the Raw and SmackDown roster with the exception of Becky Lynch and Asuka. Yeah, no kidding, they're in the Rumble. It's like, come on now.
Yeah, you need to bring certain people back. Like, it would have been awesome if they could have convinced AJ to come back for one match.
Yeah, good luck. She'll never do it out of respect to CM Punk.
And I don't blame her. That is, that's who she's with. So it's not like she's going to disrespect him. And CM Punk's never coming back. Well, never say never. Bret Hart came back. But
CM Punk he's perfectly fine never coming back. He's a dick, but he kind of stands close to it. That would be the biggest shock of all time if he ever came back.
Which is sad because he was so much fun. His title run where he just held it forever was where it could have gotten stale. He was just such a good performer. Amazing on the mic, amazing in the mat, sold everything, hit amazing moves that you didn't get bored of watching him have the title forever.
No, 1+ year reign, but how many times did he main event the pay-per-view?
I don't think he missed one.
Well, no, he didn't miss one. That's the thing. But, he was on shows where you had John Cena against John Laurinaitis of all people. He had the 1 year reign. It was awesome, but, man, they really disrespected kind of what he was bringing to the table.
Yep, WWE is pretty damn famous for that, especially if you're outspoken. So, looking at the card, it's a loaded card, like I said. There's championship, and it's completely loaded. What match are you looking forward to besides the Rumbles?
Besides the Rumbles, the Universal title match, kind of know what the result is going to be, but we finally get Brock Lesnar against Finn Balor. I know there's no way in hell, even if he comes out in demon paint, Finn's winning that title from Lesnar. But, if you can just make it believable, surprise me like you did with Joe against Lesnar, surprise me like AJ versus Lesnar, Daniel Bryan versus Lesnar. When Lesnar and Finn, Brock chose this match on purpose because when he gives a shit, he's a phenomenal worker. That match I'm really, really looking forward to. Probably more excited for that than the 2 Rumbles because that was a matchup, where I've been waiting to see, and we finally are getting it.
Yeah, like you said, when Lesnar cares, he's an amazing worker, and Finn Balor brings it every single time. He is one of the premier performers in the WWE. He's one of the reasons why I go back and watch every once in a while to the chagrin of my wife. They continue to do it. They continue to get guys like him, like AJ Styles, was refreshing when he came on, and another guy that really doesn't get stale. It's something that is great. I'm looking at this card, though. Why are they still pushing Rusev for anything? I've never liked Rusev. I've always thought he was just a big walking plank of a big guy that just throws things.
So you're not celebrating Rusev Day?
No, my appeal with Rusev was Lana, who was not even the hottest woman there, but she was a good manager. I enjoyed Lana. I hated Rusev, and I still do.
Hope this won't get me in trouble, but Lana I despise, but that's neither here nor there, and we can talk about it offline. But even worse, how about my boy Shinsuke Nakamura goes from winning the Royal Rumble last year to kickoff show? Where he's probably going to lose because it's not like Rusev's going to hot potato the U.S. title. That's what I'm kind of more upset about. That's the thing. They're kind of giving Rusev that win, but seriously, he's on the kickoff show. No one's really tuning in for Rusev versus Nakamura.
It seems like they're doing what they're doing to Shinsuke right now is what they did to Samoa Joe when he first came on. And Samoa Joe was a guy that, probably a little more than Shinsuke, but he had such a following coming in that they had no need to kind of introduce him into the WWE universe. Like, everyone knew who the guy was already. Samoa Joe's a guy that should have been thrust into the championship scene, like, instantly. And I feel like Shinsuke is another guy where he had that whole stretch of where he was, kind of just coming in and attacking people afterwards and looking dominant, but it never came to anything. Even like you said, he won the Rumble last year, and then what does it come from? They fall very flat with some guys, and I never understand why.
It takes a special sort of creative team to take what was an excellent couple matches in New Japan and turn it into let's see who can hit each other in the nuts the hardest with AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I agree, man. You had the heel turn. You had something interesting there, and for whatever reason, they cooled off. I don't know if it's because Nakamura's English isn't the greatest, but I thought him trolling and saying no speak English was hysterical and some good heel stuff. But I don't know. That's a bummer. Joe, I'm not too as upset about. I think he'll get his due one day. He's treated like a killer. He's pretty protected, all things considered. But yeah, nothing kind of bummed me out more than seeing where Nakamura is kind of an afterthought at the moment.
And my final question about WWE, and then we're going to jump into some esports before we close this out. Daniel Bryan, back wrestling, loving that. Why are they not taking the opportunity to rehash one of the greatest Ring of Honor rivalries of all time, and let's make him and Seth Rollins just have a war for like a year? Because those two working together, I remember just watching a few matches that they had in Ring of Honor, and it was just poetry. Both of the guys going for it. They're both great sellers, awesome entertainers, great on the mic, each of them. Why not? Why the hell not?
I'd have to look back at kind of his feuds because really I would love to have kind of 2005 circa him versus Joe, just when they really beat the crap out of each other. I don't know. They've got it kind of set up. Right now, Bryan is kind of like the liberal heel at the moment, hates everyone wasting the planet away, so he's going full-on hippie mode right now. Honestly, it's because I think they're saving Seth for Brock Lesnar. I think Seth's the one, spoilers, that's going to win the Rumble and take the title off Lesnar at Mania. Down the road, we could see kind of a champion versus champion sort of thing, but hey, never, like you said, never say never. I'd love to see that matchup, but kind of where the SmackDown brand is at the moment, I'm curious to see if they ever kind of have Joe and Bryan one-on-one lock horns to kind of give a nice wink to Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I hope so eventually too. But we're now going to jump into esports. And like I said, we both consider, well, I definitely consider what the dudes do at esports. People are like, I've gotten this debate with people, and they're like, what is your appeal with sitting around and watching people play video games? I'm like, well, what is your appeal with sitting around watching people play a sport that you can go out and do? I can play a video game, but I'm not half as good as those dudes. Like, I can go play Call of Duty, but I get my ass kicked. I'm not half as good as those dudes playing Call of Duty, Fortnite, Overwatch, any of the EA games, 2K. it's fun to watch people that are great
Yeah.
at things.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, and we look at it. The big thing is, I saw whoever sent the message, and it'd be funny to say, like, let's get kind of a senior esports team going. And when they say senior, people like ages 30 and up, because really you're seeing like all these, 18 to 22-year-olds in front of a computer, monitor, what have you. And what people don't realize is like they eat, drink, and sleep this stuff. They've got, their reflexes are really good. They figured out a way to be the best of the best. And maybe where people get mad is they think they can just pick up a controller and eventually get good. Whereas like, other physical sports like football, basketball, baseball, you have to be a certain height, blessed with God-given talent. I don't know. But these kids are, I think they're athletes as well. What they do is astounding. It is tough to kind of explain to, people not into it while they're watching at a screen. But my wife and I went to a League of Legends, just kind of round robin in San Francisco, and people are going nuts for this. This is just on a big screen. You feel like you're at a sporting event. People are going nuts for, their favorite team, their favorite group of people playing it. And it's just like a whole event as well.
Now, you have so many different leagues now, and it has grown, and it's massive, and it has its, there's a TV show about E-League, there's Overwatch League, there's ESL. There are so many leagues because almost every game. I'm so happy that Dragon Ball FighterZ has a league because that game is unbelievable, and it's about time they had a nice fighting one. But what is your favorite esports league to watch if you have one?
Oh, league-wise, definitely any kind of the fighters. If we're talking like kind of big tournaments, EVO. If we're talking actual teams, though, I'm a big Cloud9 supporter. Just kind of like their brands. But, yeah, really just any kind of the fighting game tournaments. Big fan of that kid, Sonic Fox. Really funny guy, Takes a lot of courage for, he's openly gay. He's openly a furry, but he's really kind of pushing the boundaries of everything. And he's easily one of the best video game players, we're ever going to see, probably since Daigo, a guy that really kind of took charge and is the face of it. And not only is he just good at one game, this dude's top of the game in Dragon Ball, Mortal Kombat. I think he's the top player in Injustice 2 as well. He is just a gnarly, just really good player.
Now, out of the fighters, I'm not going to lie, I love watching a really good Soul Calibur match. There is so much that can be done in Soul Calibur, and when you see two guys that are good at it, it is so fun to watch. I don't know. How do you like Soul Calibur as much as I do? I go on Twitch, and if I see a good Soul Calibur streamer, I'm on.
I actually like kind of more the brother company of it, or the brother game of it, Tekken, actually. I kind of prefer a little more.
Love Tekken, too.
Soul Calibur's good, but I think that's more of just kind of looking for your openings. It's a slower game for me. I like it. Watching it, not so much, but the Tekken franchise, I can play and watch that all the time. I just really, especially kind of the combos you need to nail, just like those kind of openings. It's always fun to play and watch those.
My wife's actually really good at Tekken, and then I got Pokken, and she destroyed Pokken. Pokken is a very underrated game.
If you have a Switch, I highly recommend that. It's like there's that Pokemon fight everyone's been wanting.
Without a doubt. Listen, we're going to talk all fair about an idea that I have because it needs to be done. But anyway, so one thing about the E-League, when I watch the E-League thing, one thing that I think gives a big drawback for them is there's not enough of the game going on when it's on TV. They do such a story and they talk about the teams and they do so much that kind of loses my interest, where if you're watching football, you're watching basketball, you're watching one of these other, considered the main sports, you're watching the game and they're talking about the players in game, where you get such a backstory and it becomes a show more than it becomes the event. I really would just love to see them show the event, have the announcers talking about it, but then also talk about the players as well. That's where I think they need to go next if they want to continue to grow in terms of TV deals. Would you feel about something like, is my criticism legit when it comes to that?
Well, I would ask kind of where you're watching. Are you seeing just kind of random stream on Twitch? Are we talking Street Fighter Finals on ESPN2?
I'm talking Street Fighter Finals. I'm talking Overwatch on, I think the TBS had the Overwatch tournament on, and eSports has, I forget what channel it was on, but E-League has, I think every weekend they have something going on. And when I watch them, I see too much story and not enough game.
That's your problem right there. The big stations don't know what they have. They're directing them in a certain way. I point it and look at kind of Evo, these announcers, the announcers are kind of fun. They're like WWE announcers, really.
Yeah.
their shit when they like a combo hits or they know it's the kill shot. And honestly, look at ESPN, TBS. I wouldn't be shocked if the executive producer told them to dial it back. But do me a solid when like Capcom Cup or a big time tournament comes around. Actually listen to them because, you know, they might give a spiel beforehand, but when that game is on, the players are in, they're locking in and they're experts and they know exactly what the guys are pressing.
You got to remind me. Remind me on Twitter. Shoot a tweet to Sports Opinions. We'll share it out. We'll see if we can get more. I had a buddy of mine on. He actually just announced a massive thing on Fansided. He became a director of 3 different accounts, but he was the Fansided eSports guy. And Louis Torado Jr., he's big at eSports. He has his own Twitch account. He's someone that I think you would really enjoy. But we had this conversation when he was on, and he kind of tended to agree with you that you have to watch the right thing. But that's my thing. I don't want it to be where you have to watch the right thing and know where to watch it. I want it to be on TBS where you go in there and it's a Street Fighter tournament and it's, prep beforehand, but when it's on, it's on. Like, give me a good, nice, long tournament. Show me a bunch of matches. You know what I mean? Highlight these players' skills.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, the numbers won't lie. The people tuning in on Twitch, they want to get excited. They want to hear the excitement in the announcer's voice. ESPN and these big wig companies got to trust the Twitch people, got to trust these esport announcers. Like, they understand the brand. We don't want to be just a regular old color commentator. They want to be like, actually, football example. They want to be Tony Romo. They want to tell you and be excited about what's about to happen and what they think is going to happen, how this opening hit. They need to kind of adjust and let these people also run wild. If they get in trouble, hey, whatever, find some others. Now,
is it right now? I feel like G4 ended years too soon because this would have been the time for a G4 station to really flourish. Is it time for Twitch to take the next level and get in with Netflix, with Hulu, and make an actual, or even on cable providers, make a station where you do have the video game content? Because Attack of the Show and X-Play were unbelievable. I love both of those shows. And now that there's nothing to turn to for gamers there, do you think it's time for Twitch or something like them to strike, make a station, hold these tournaments properly on there, and let's get the gamers out there again?
Man, I'd argue they're actually kind of doing good with what they are. G4 died because people just stopped watching on TV. Think about the streaming culture. I mean, you say Hulu, Netflix. I've got Twitch on my PlayStation 4. When I wanted to see the Evo qualifiers and all that, just threw it up on my PS4 and I was watching that live right there. They know their fan base is tuning in online. I think doing a channel and doing all that's kind of risky because you look at a lot of these cable shows. ESPN just launched ESPN Plus. People know that streaming it's directing more towards that, and the big wig old billionaires are the ones that are kind of huffing and puffing, that say like, no, cable, all this bullshit. That's what they want to kind of keep on. I mean, I'll be honest, man, I only have internet. I don't even have cable anymore because everything I need to watch, ESPN, Twitch, all that, I've got it right on my game console.
There you go. So coming from the man's mouth as it is. So we're both agreeing esports is a sport. I'm going to hit it to you right now on the spot. Who wins the Super Bowl, Pats or Rams?
Why not? Let's go Rams. 28.
You went with your heart.
I went with my heart, so naturally, being a Dolphins fan, I'm going to hate myself in a week.
What was the score you were going to give? I interrupted you. Rams
28, Patriots 20. I can hear Dan Pearl's laughing at me.
Yep, and I'm laughing at you too. I'm with Dan here. I'm saying that we see Tom Brady do Tom Brady. I'll say that the Rams get 28, but Patriots win it as Tom Brady won his first one, last second field goal, 31-28. That is my prediction there.
Fair enough. Just please have him get popped in the mouth for me, please.
All right, so that will conclude this episode of the Sports Opinions podcast. I'm your host, Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30, Sports Opinions at Sports Opinion 30, Instagram, Sports Opinions 30. Visit Facebook and listen to us anywhere. You can listen to a podcast legitimately anywhere. Just go search it. You'll find it. If you have Spotify, iHeartRadio on your phone, YouTube, we're everywhere. Greg Masto, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you on social media if you want to give a plug, anything like that?
Yeah, on social media, you can find me at Mastodactyl. And keep an eye out for Endless Entertainment on your future mobile devices. Appreciate it, Cuesta.
Hey, absolutely. And again, this was the Sports Opinions podcast. Everybody have a good one.